So continuing with our wrapping tutorial, we're going to talk about how important it is to trim these ends to keep your top knot and neck hair coming in fresh. So you'll notice that, we showed you how to wrap her ears, and now for the rest of her neck sections, we have a part that goes from the front corner of the ear to the other front corner of the ear across the skull. And then typically, now, and also it's parted from across the top of each ear. And then typically I would go across the back from the back corner of the ear to the opposite back corner of the ear, right? So you see this nice straight line. So I call this the neck section or the ear section. And typically I would make the rest of my sections down the back about this size. So people ask, how big do I make those sections? This is how big I make them. Exception to every rule, she is one of the exceptions. She has a very big, thick, heavy coat. We're still in a little bit of the rainy season here. So I find when I make the sections this big that she is still matting between baths more than I would like her to. I'm always spraying with some kind of moisturizing or detangling spray. So what I'm going to do is I still have this section, right? Back corner of the ear, back corner of the ear, front corner of the ear, front corner of the ear, and then across the top of each ear. I'm just going to divide this simply in half. I find by doing this, she's been having less matting. And again, you need to make sure that you can get a comb through this, right? So it's nice and combed. Then I'm going to take this section and I'm going to take a pair of straight shears and I'm going to take all this hair that's at the top, that is see-through, that is not even, and I'm just going to chop it off. And I'm going to do that basically every single week. That's what keeps my hair coming in nice and thick. It gets rid of those split ends. Split ends just keep traveling down the hair shaft and eventually your dog has lost some coat. So I might even take this section and do it again and take my straight shears and I'm just going to go and take off everything on the top that is see-through and then band up this section. Typically I like to put the band around 3 times, but 2 seem to work just then. So the other thing I think is important is to keep my band spacing even as I go up the hair shaft. And you can see now that I'm only taking the band around 3 times each time. 3 times is tight enough to be secure until her next bath, but not so tight that it's causing hair damage, hair breakage. And then because this piece wants to flop forward, I'm just going to attach these 2 pieces together to try and keep it out of her face a little bit better. And I'm simply going to keep continuing down her back. I'm going to ask her to sit up straight so that my lines end up straight. And I'm using the ice slip brush here just because I want to make sure I'm not taking out any excess coat. And I'm going to keep making, so these lines as we go down the back are even with this ear line, the ear part at the top of the ear. And now each one of these sections, the maximum size it's going to be is the size of this whole ear section, the minimum being half of that ear section. And I'm making sure that I have lots of lubrication in that coat so that my brush can go through the coat easily, because if my brush doesn't go through the coat easily at this point, that's just telling me that there is going to be matting sooner than I would like it. Part of the reason why her hair is a little bit more difficult to brush out right at this point is I finished bathing her a couple hours ago and we were using her for video, so she wasn't freshly combed out and she was running around in the wind, and also she's a brat and she likes to rub herself against the garage. All of these things are things that could happen to you and your poodle, but see how nice and straight those lines are, like all the way down to the skin. That's very important. Again, we go around 3 times. Again, I want to take my shears and just take off all that part that is see-through. And we're always spraying very lightly. This is a question we actually had the other week. We don't want to get the hair soaking wet. We just want to give it a nice mist so that the hair isn't staticky. And again, we're just like lubricating that hair shaft, just like if you had a ring stuck on your finger, how some soap or other lubricant would work to help that ring come off your finger. Those very, very see-through ends. I'm just going to put one little more section back here because I noticed this week on our bath that this area was actually quite dry. So here we have our poodle. You can see that these lines are going to the skin all the way along. I can actually just feel something right in there that doesn't feel right. So I just want to make sure that's all brushed out. You know, and if you do have a poodle that is getting a little bit more tangled, or, you know, it's just finishing a coat change, or the weather is like, when I'm done banding or wrapping, I like to make sure that like all of this hair really looks perfect and isn't trying to cause tangles, like isn't trying to work its way up into those banded or wrapped sections. So I might add a little bit more of that detangling spray and just make sure that everything looks nice and separated. Like if you don't have these nice clean lines now, that's just opening yourself up to like a little bit of matting as we go forward. And you can see like there's a little crossover of hair right here that I want to just fix. And there you go. So I hope that that helped, showed how just by cutting off those see-through ends, like just look at how much healthier the end of that coat looks. Like you see no broken ends, no split ends, etc., because we just took the time and trimmed off all of those split ends. That's simply how it is. So thank you so much for joining our banding tutorial. Hi guys, thanks for joining us for our latest Leading Edge Dog Show Academy tutorial. Don't forget to go to leadingedgedogshowacademy.com to see some of our premium content and webinars where we go in depth on grooming, training, and so much more. Of course, we would love for you to like and subscribe so you don't miss another video here on YouTube. And if there's something that you would like to see that you haven't yet seen on our YouTube channel, of course, just drop it in the comments below and we'd be more than happy to bring you that content. So once again, I'm Allison from Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and I really hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial.